Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon for the latest film interviews, features, and recommendations on the movies that matter.
Fahad, it's good to see you. I've enjoyed your films and your performances over the years, so I'm really glad we're getting to sit down and do this.
I know, same here. Thank you.
I wish the first time was in person, but maybe that would be the second time.
Hopefully, yes.
Fahad, in Kerala, you've been dazzling the audiences with your choices for nearly 12 years. But slowly and surely, over the last few years, and thanks in no small part to the streaming platforms, there has been what I want to call a sort of national awakening. Cinephiles who live outside of Kerala also have discovered the Fahadh Faasil phenomenon, and it's really thanks to those terrific performances in films like, and forgive me already for my pronunciations. I've seen the films, I love them. I can't always pronounce them right. Maheshinde Pratikaram, Thondi Mutalam Driksakshiyam. That's the one I enjoyed the most, and that's the one I just have trouble pronouncing. Nyan Prakashan, and of course Kumbalangi Nights, which is everybody's favorite. Fahad, is this more exciting and satisfying that it's your Malayalam films that have, in a sense, expanded your audience and expanded the fan base, and that you didn't have to come to Mumbai and do a Bollywood film to achieve that?
See, absolutely. I always talk to my friends about it. See, the fact that people watch the films in Malayalam and take an effort to understand it, or explore it. That itself is a big thing for us, I keep thinking, see, it's not that, I'm a big fan of Piku, I'm a big fan of Pink. So films are traveling. It's just not from Kerala to Bombay or, across India, the films are traveling. I am more exposed to Bengali films and, thanks to the platforms and everything. So, the fact is that cinema is traveling. It's not at one point, it's not happening in a studio. It's not happening in a particular location. It's happening everywhere.
Correct.
And it's exciting.
Yeah. A Fahadh Faasil film has come to mean something that's new and original and different. You've earned a reputation for being an actor who has a great gut, a great instinct for good scripts. When someone goes in to watch a Fahadh Faasil film, it usually means that you're going to see a different Fahadh from what you've seen the last time around. How do you go about picking scripts, Fahadh? I'm guessing this is a question you've been asked a few times. What's the approach?
I think where I stress on is that I always believe that if I pick the right filmmaker, 50% of my job is done. In fact, it's like doing the right film with the right maker. A person like Mahesh, he's capable of doing a lot of films.
Right.
But I wanted to do a film like See You Soon with him. So I think the trade secret or whatsoever is that, getting the filmmaker to do a film that he's also excited about, just not for me, but for, both of us. The writer and, it's the collaboration is fun.
Right. So the role comes secondary. Is that it? What they have in mind?
Yeah. The narrative is the primary thing I look at.
Because, for an outsider, for someone who's watching, one would think that this is a man who's driven by a hunger to not repeat himself. Because everything seems, every choice seems different from the last. Is that also part of the, is that also one of the instincts that drives the choices?
No, I think if I repeat myself twice, I think people will get bored of me.
Right.
I just have 6 reactions and I play around with the 6 reactions, so I cannot give this 6 reactions in a, what do I say, in the same manner. I sort of manipulate it, so I don't like seeing myself doing the same kind of films or, I sort of get bored of myself. So I don't want to repeat myself. And every time I take up a film, primarily what I look for is, I want to feel that I'm doing this for the first time. I want to get that feeling. So I think when you have that effort consciously going in you, I think you tend to look for new stuff, and you don't want to repeat yourself.
Do you ever run your scripts by either your wife Nazria, who's got an actor's instinct herself, or your father, who of course is a very prolific filmmaker himself? I mean, are these decisions that you tend to make purely on your own instinct?
No, I discuss with everyone. I discuss with Nazria primarily because when I decided to do Kumbalangi, the only person I discussed that was with my wife. So I went and told her, so this might, there's a chance that people would be talking about me in
Correct.
such a way for a while. So I collaborate with my father. I discuss with everyone, but we all believe in good cinema, but it's all in the sense that it's all different kinds of good cinema. It's not the same
Right.
good cinema,
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, but they've given me the freedom to do what I believe is the best, and so I'm fortunate that way. That's my father or my wife or my mother. My mother actually thinks that I do weird films. She couldn't. She would close the eyes every time the cops start hitting me in Tondi Mudalam Sakshi.
Right.
And she's she's just seen like 20 minutes of the film and she's like, no, it didn't work for me. So yeah, I'm fortunate that way. I have the freedom internally to explore it. Yeah.
Right. You mentioned Kumbalangi, and I want to talk about Kumbalangi because it's such a great character. I mean, Shami is such a wonderful character. He's he's passive aggressive. He's a bit sadistic. He's always smiling, which is borderline creepy. And then, of course, that big reveal, and I think we can talk about it because I feel like everyone's seen that film. The big reveal, of course, is that he has a mental condition. Now, the film's director, Madhu Narayanan, he said that through Shami, he wanted to kind of talk about and address the toxic masculinity that passes off as heroism in our society. But how did you see him? What was your sort of entry into Shami?
See, for me, it was. For me, I don't know if I'm right when I say this, but it was some kind of a male superiority that which was a disturbing superiority. I mean,
right. He wants to be the protector of that family.
Yeah, I mean, walking around your house without a shirt, and girls are around, I mean, ladies are around, and that's kind of a domination. I'll walk around the way I want. So that was I wanted to explore that actually. It was a difficult role to actually convey. But Sham, the magic of Sham is that he'll sit with you and he'll make you Shami.
Right.
So I tell all my actor friends that he will make anyone Shami.
The new film that you've made, which is under lockdown, no less, has been described by the director, Mahesh Narayanan, as an experiment. He said that it was an exercise that all you friends wanted to do together to see if you could create a new format. This is, of course, See You Soon. And it's a missing person thriller. It struck, I was sort of immediately reminded of Searching because like that film, that Hollywood film which came out 2 years ago, it unfolds entirely in front of computer screens and mobile phone screens. But is it true, Fahad, that you signed on to produce that film and act in it after they'd actually already shot Roshan Matthews' portions and that kind of sold you on it?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I'll tell you the story how it happened. Okay, so let's start with Searching. I loved Searching. Okay, I saw it like 2 years back. I saw it with my wife actually. I don't remember where I saw it, but I saw it a long time back, and I loved the film. So when I love a film, I mean, when any actor or any filmmaker gets, loves a film, he gets inspired. Right. So the idea is not to make another Searching. The idea is to inspire from Searching and make another thing. I mean, see, it could be one step ahead of Searching, or it could be 10 steps behind Searching. But the idea is to attempt something in that, in that space. So coming back to See You Soon. So Mahesh and I, basically, we discuss a lot of films and scripts, and he only talks about cinema, So and he lives like 2 blocks away from my building, so he's always here, and we keep talking, and I love the way he functions, the way he decides to execute a scene, and I just did a film with him, a big film, Malik.
Right.
We were supposed to release it, and the lockdown happened, so hopefully next year. So then, so during one of our discussions, this is a year back, Mahesh showed me a video. So it was about a video about a girl it was a girl who was working in Saudi Arabia, and it was like a confession video, and basically she wanted to get out of Saudi, and she was a victim of. So that was very disturbing. I mean, Parvati knows about it. In fact, we all discussed it together, that particular story, and then this lockdown happened. Mahesh would come home every evening, and we would sit and chat, and then we started sort of talking about Mahesh's edit patterns and how he edited films, and then that's when it really struck me that see, actors like me, we're trained to perform for lenses,
Right?
like what lens is capturing you. But 10 years back or 15 years back, the theater actors were perform for the last benchers.
Right.
So there was that's the first thing I told Mahesh. So let's shoot a film in a frame. Let's not go with lenses. Let's fix a frame.
Right.
Shoot a film, and then sort of that's when Mahesh picked up and said we can actually redesign a film on the edit table. Let's shoot it in one frame, and then let's decide. Let's decide the storytelling at the edit table. So I mean, it was so. And with Mahesh, my experience, Mahesh came to me, he narrated Malik to me, and 30 minutes into the narration, he said, okay, this is one shot, okay? So every time he narrates a story to me, I'm like, the first thing is like, how is he going to shoot it? It's crazy. How is he going to shoot it? So
the treatment is very important, yeah.
Very important film. So the first 25 minutes of Malik is a single shot.
Wow.
So he conceives like that, and he executes like that. So then I said, I told Mahesh, I'm in. You want to do it? I'm in. But tell me how this is working, how this functions. And he shot with Roshan and Darshana for 3 days, and he showed me the footage, and I just wanted to be a part of that film. See, if you look at it, Rajiv, with searching, they've taken a liberty to actually go, which is actually good. I mean, you should take the liberty to tell the story any which way you want to. So if you look at the scene where he goes to his brother's house, he goes in with a small camera. He places it. See, they've taken liberties like that.
Correct. Which you wouldn't normally do. Right.
If you look at See You Soon, there's nothing like that. See, it's more authentic, if I may use the word.
Correct.
Like you don't take the narrative out of the devices you're using. The narrative is within the device.
Correct.
So I mean, I don't know if I'm right. Every time I walk in, I do a film, and when my film comes out, I look for two kinds of people. One, they walk to me and say, good man, nice work. And there's another kind who will come and say, no man, that's not the way. There's another way to do it.
You seek out those kind of people, huh?
I absolutely. So with See You Soon, anything can happen. I'm sure, people could get influenced to do another, searching or something better than searching. Right. So, I mean, it's going to keep people thinking for sure. And I loved it. So,
but what was it like, Fahadh, as an actor, to be performing with no co-star in the entire film? For the entire duration of the film, you're actually only performing to a screen.
Exactly.
There's never any human interaction, in a sense.
No one knew this would be such a difficult task. Honestly, we started shooting it, and we stopped shooting. We stopped shooting because we were not getting the connect. So then we sat around a table, then we started playing the scene like that. We would play the scene around a table, and, we get the rhythms of other actors. Then, sometimes we might have someone reading it. One of the actors reading it to us. So the exercise was so interesting and so, discovering. And now the fact that we are looking at another See You Soon, where you see, if you look at the See You Soon now,
right,
you don't see the first meeting of Vanu and Jimmy.
Correct.
So we want to do a See You Soon where you'll see everything that you don't see in this version.
Right.
So
right. Sort of fill in the blanks, fill in that.
Exactly. And that version would have Kevin's story happening at a different pace, and so the idea is to explore and just do what excites you.
I thought it was very fascinating. I thought the film was very gripping, and that's fascinating. When you're able to do that with just when you're just watching screens, it also kind of tells you just how much of our lives we spend looking at screens. That doesn't throw you off. That you're watching a 98-minute film entirely unfolding on screens. I think
exactly. There was an interview which happened a long time back, I think 10 or 15 years back, when Mr. Steven Spielberg was here, and I think Mr. Bachchan was interviewing.
Yeah.
So what Mr. Spielberg said was, what's lacking now is eye contact.
Right.
No one has eye contact now. Like everyone is either looking at their phone or
True.
you go to the airport, or even when you're traveling, you're not looking out of the window. You're looking into the phone.
Right.
So the eye contact is actually missing, and the only place where you get an eye contact is on FaceTime or like this.
Virtually,
so,
yes.
Yeah. So it was a different kind of connect you get with when you perform for films like this. You travel beyond space.
Right.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something that you said in passing. You said that you seek out people also who tell you that, hey, we didn't like this. What does that give you? What fuel does that give you, Fahadh?
For the first 3 days, anger.
Good to know that you're just like the rest of us.
Yeah. But so with all my films, I have that, and my films are like that. I think, it doesn't, not everyone is happy about everything that's happened in the film.
Right.
But most of them are very excited about the new things they saw.
Correct.
So
I feel that way about Trans, and I saw the responses to that. Very polarizing. One really enjoyed what you did with the character and the performance, and yet there were those that felt that the film didn't come together in a fully satisfying way.
Right. The narrative didn't, sort of excite the audience. So I see it as an opportunity to move on, I guess. Every time I decide on a film, my biggest concern is, have I done this before? So, you repeat because you love what you're doing, and things that you get excited about, you will definitely repeat. Correct. Even without you knowing it, you'll repeat it. Right. So for me, when I get excited, the biggest fight is, am I repeating myself? So,
and who's your check? How do you keep yourself in check that you're not
my
repeating
filmmaker,
yourself?
my filmmaker. I not just my filmmaker, every technician on the sets. The cinematographer, everyone, the sound guys, and I keep talking to all of them. Right. And surprisingly, one of them can easily save me from every scene. So.
I read an interview in which you said that your father told you to somehow make all your directors fall in love with you, and if you were able to achieve that, you would never be short of good scripts. And you've spoken about the great friendship that you have with most of your directors, some of whom you've even worked with on more than one film. It's of course great to have that relationship of comfort and safety with your filmmakers, but there are so many examples, Fahadh, of terrific directors who are very difficult to work with, and who were very exacting and demanding, and were hard on their actors to get what they wanted. I want to ask you, can great art come from a place of discomfort and conflict? Can a not ideal working situation or a not ideal shooting experience yield a great film at the end of it?
I'll tell you from my experience.
Yeah.
Every time I've not enjoyed, I've gone wrong. Every time. It's easier to say the other way. When there is joy, there is, there's a lot of other things. But conflicts, I think that's normal. I think that's very normal. I think, see, no one is above anyone. When you're capturing a moment, everyone is the same. I think, and I have not actually interacted with anyone who's so demanding. They also am demanding. They also am demanding. So,
and has that resulted in a combative sort of experience or a set?
But
have you been on a set which has just been an unpleasant set? You don't have to name the film.
No, actually, no. I've never been. I've never been arm twisted to do anything, but I've walked in and then realized, oh damn, that's happened. But no one has ever forced me to do something that I've not wanted to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But the only reason you made a Tamil film was because you realized that Kumararaja was not going to make a Malayalam film. And it was after Aranyakandam blew your mind, in your own words, that you said, okay, if the only way I'm going to work with this guy is to make a Tamil film, then I'll do it. And that's how Super Deluxe happened, of course. But what was it like doing literally more than 100 takes? I mean, in a language that you don't speak. Does it sort of, do you lose the spontaneity?
See, with Kumar, he'll tell you why he's going for retakes, you know. Right. I mean, so when you have that space filled in, you don't feel like, you know, I like to explore, you know, even when you've got the right take and if there's time, I'd like to, you know, explore and look at the possibilities. But I don't think it's right for actors to get tired of it. It's their job, you know. I think you should. I mean, they know the film better than you.
Right.
I always look at it that way. I mean, I always thought Kumar knew how I would be in the film better than me. You know, Kumar had an idea much clearer and much more detailed than the idea or the image I had. So I trust them that way. So it's, you know, for me, it's fun. It's fun.
But is it humbling? Is it humbling when you're, you know, clearly you're not giving the director what he wants, which is why you're going for the 27th take or the 29th take? Is that, in a sense, you know, does that make you insecure?
No, even when I get the right takes, I'm insecure.
Okay.
So I mean, with Kumar, see, the thing is, I see it as an opportunity to do something a little better than what I did 2 minutes back. Right. So I keep demanding for takes, and you know, sometimes, you know, you'll break that. You see, when you do a take continuously for 10 takes or 12 takes, you get into that brackets. You know, you form the brackets. You start playing around with that. You have to do another 15 takes to actually come out of it.
Right.
If you come out of that, maybe, you know, wonders can happen. You know, you never know. Sometimes you'll, you know, eventually go back to the first take or the fifth take, but sometimes you know, you crack it and then you explore, and you know, so it depends actually. Right. With Kumar, I even our next film, I want to take the chance of doing 1,000 takes if possible.
But what is the maximum number of takes you have done?
Oh, Kumar with me. See, after the first 2 days, he said he asked me if the clap thing is it bothering you. I said a little bit. And we'll skip that. Then I never asked him how many takes. You
know, while we're talking about Super Deluxe, I want to ask you about one of my favorite scenes in that film. It's the one in the car where, of course, Samantha's character Vembu is telling you that to act out the scene. You know, where you're telling your friends and complaining about her betrayal. You're abusing her to your friends. Yeah. And you know, it's a great scene because those emotions from your character Mugil are real, but you also treat it like an acting exercise. So you know, you're drinking water which you're pretending is booze, and you're messing up your hair because you're. I mean, what was that like to shoot? It was just such a great scene.
I see, even when he narrated that scene, I told him I'm doing this film for that scene. You know, I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to crack it, but I really love that scene. I mean, it's not a scene that's given to every actor. You know, I mean, it those kind of scenes actually finds an actor. You know, so I mean, I was very excited about that, and I was very fortunate to actually, you know, I've never worked on a scene. How do I say it? That scene was actually the perspective, the way it was conceived. It was all, see, it had so many layers, but all that eventually, you know, meant the same thing.
Correct.
You know, so it's a very well-written scene. You know, I mean, you can't take off one line or you can't take off, you know, a frame from that scene. Right. So, I mean, I am just fortunate to have actually, you know, done something like that. And
the other scene, and this is the film geek in me coming out. The other scene I want to talk to you about is from another is from the film that I love and I can't pronounce, but I'm going to give it a shot again. Thondi
Modulu Driksakshi.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, it's the chase scene. It's that
you know, Vishal sir calls it chor that chor ka film.
Correct. So we all have this. So all of us that are in Mumbai have this problem of
yeah.
So it's the chase scene, it's that incredible, exhilarating chase scene, which in which of course one Prasad is chasing after the other Prasad, and you all go through plantations and estates and all sorts of places. And at one point you're just so exhausted that you're just staring at each other, which became the poster of the film. One critic, he described the chase. I was reading a review and he said this chase is more exhilarating than watching a Fast and Furious film. Again, what was going on shooting that? What was that like to shoot? I mean, I always wonder whether the experience is as satisfying and as exhilarating to perform as it is to view, to watch when it's all complete for us as an audience.
Yeah. So the keynote, I mean, the one thing Dilesh told me was that they can never catch you. They can come close to you, but they can never catch you. Right. Just know that and just behave like that. I mean, we shot the entire sequence for like 10 days or something. I mean, it was. Wow. There are footages that we couldn't use also, but I mean, Dilesh, I mean that itself was treated as a song or a screenplay, or I mean, correct. There was a screenplay to that entire chase. So again, Dilesh and Shyam and Rajiv, I mean, it's when all these people come together, there can only be magic, so.
The thing that is most frequently said about you, Fahadh, is that here's an actor who isn't addicted to stardom. You said in an interview that had your first film been a big hit, this is of course the film that your father made with you when you were 19. I mean, had that film turned you into a star, an overnight star, you may not have had the career that you have today. What changed inside of you, Fahadh, when you went off after that film flopped, when you went off to America, went and studied, you studied philosophy and you studied engineering, but what inside you sort of changed? Your pursuit obviously you obviously wanted different things from an acting career when you decided to come back 7-8 years later. What changed and which I guess resulted in these very interesting, off-kilter choices?
See, primarily, there was a huge difference between the image I would see outside my window and the image I would see on screen. I don't know. I was a failure. I failed. I left the US. I tried engineering. I couldn't get the numbers right. I told my folks that I can't do this, and I dropped out. But because I was failed in that particular field, I kept exploring that field. When a movie comes out, I would go out, go with my friends, and I would, maybe I would discuss the film a little more than they would, I mean, I remember the first film I watched after I landed in the US. It was 25th Star, Spike Lee's 25th Star.
Right, yeah.
I loved it.
What a great film it is, yeah.
What a film. So, I mean, there was a huge difference, if I may say, in the reality I saw and what was actually, I mean, what I saw in the film as reality. I mean, there was a huge difference in that. So I think my attempt was always to, find a balance somewhere. I still haven't found it. I mean, it's still difficult. It's still very difficult. So the journey or the attempts were always to find that balance where it should be as easy as looking out of the window.
Right. You said that you never go to a set prepared. You like to get there and try different things, try new things, and sort of find the character or find the moment. Does it ever? And it's back to the insecurity question. Does it never make you insecure to reach a set and have dozens of people? Because a set is there's dozens of people who are standing around waiting to do their job, and they can do their job when you do your job. But here's the leading man who walks in not knowing what he wants to do.
See, I usually don't do that. I don't make them actually wait for me. Right. So basically, this is my routine. I talk to my director the previous night. So I usually have a chat. We discuss about what we shot and what we're shooting the next day, and that's the bit of homework I do. We just discuss that. The first thing I do in the sets is I go and ask them, how are you doing it? How are you shooting it? Where are you taking it from? Then there would be other actors, and I would ask them, how are you playing it? They would ask me, how are you playing it? So, I mean, it doesn't take time, but usually the cracking happens very easily. When we are at it and when we start executing it, that happens very quick.
Right.
So I mean, there's not there is time wasted. I mean, I can't lie about it, but yeah.
You've said the shooting part is the longest part of the making of any of your films.
Yeah. I can never. I mean, even when I produce a film or when I work with other producers, I mean, that's one thing I tell them. I'll try and reduce the loss for you.
Right.
So I mean, if you can't see, that's the only place where you can get it right. If you can't get it right there, it's out of your hands.
Correct. No, we'll save it in the edit.
No. Mahesh takes off your bad close-ups and all that, But so Mahesh always says, if it's not there, I can't do anything.
Correct. Yeah. If you haven't given that take,
I keep asking him, we didn't do that. There was a shot from there. We never did that. You don't ask me for things we didn't shoot,
Fahadh, in the past decade, we've seen a new wave of Malayalam cinema that you've of course been a part of, and there's been a younger generation of directors, of actors, of writers. Many of them are second generation, film kids like yourself, and most of y'all have sort of collaborated to create these exciting sort of projects, and it's not as if there weren't unusual stories or great stories being told, in Malayalam cinema, but it feels like with the new wave, there's a new generation of talent. Some of the criticism from the traditionalists is that the content is not wholesome, it's not family viewing, we can't watch this with families. How do you view this past decade in Malayalam cinema? What's changed and what needs to change?
No, I don't know what is that you can't view with your family. If you can't see anything with your family, I mean, things that you cannot see with your family, I don't think you should see it at all. I mean, that's, I think that is over. That phase is over, I think. I mean, see, this was when there was a joint family culture in Kerala or in India, where three brothers and their families lived in one building. It's not there now. I mean, it's all nuclear, small families, I mean, everyone has an independent room or so I think the thoughts and the thinking process, everything is independent now. I mean, so I think there shouldn't be any kind of restrictions to what kids should have restrictions to what they access, but a cinema lover should be given the freedom to explore everything.
Yeah. And in the case of Malayalam cinema, it's just yielded the most incredible films. It is the most exciting cinema in this country. So I tell you. But the debate around nepotism in the Hindi film industry has become very intense in the last few months, especially. And in Malayalam cinema too, there are so many second generation star kids. There's yourself, there's Dulquer, there's Prithviraj, and there's so many of you who've come from film families. The charge in Bollywood is that getting a foot in the door means that privilege comes with it. It means that there's groupism, there's campism. It doesn't allow others. When star kids continuously get opportunities, it means that outsiders are finding it that much harder to get opportunities. You were, of course, launched by your father when you were 19. That film didn't work. And then you came back and you slowly made your way to the top. How do you look at this nepotism debate, Fahadh?
See, I absolutely believe it's pointless. Okay, leave my example, okay? I know how much Prithvi struggled. I've known him all my life. I mean, we were childhood friends. And so Prithvi had a tough start. And I mean, he was good from his first film, but for a film of his to work eventually in the box office, it took time. I think, every actor needs the time, I think, to just grow and get there. And it has nothing to do with where you come from or how you trained, or I think it's all about how you see life. I have always thought that point is, it's not a, it's a pointless argument, actually.
Right. Is there there seems to be a great friendship between y'all. I mean, Dulquer, Prithvi, you. Is that the right way to describe it? I mean, is there a great friendship between the young actors of
very much. I mean, I mean, I've known Dulka. We were in the US at the same time.
Yeah.
Prithvi was actually screen tested by my father. My father was
Uh-huh.
supposed to actually launch him, and so we share that bonding, and we primarily we discuss the kind of films that we want to do, and it's all different films. Like
Right.
we all do different kind of films, but we discuss it and we watch it, and in fact, after the trailer launch, I spoke to both. I mean, they texted me, so there is a constant interaction, and they tell me also what didn't work for them, or I mean, they are brutally frank that way.
Right.
So that's the case with Tovino, Vinay, Sharaf. I mean, I have lots of friends around, and so they constantly actually keep you updated on how you're doing and things like that.
Right. I have to ask you, how has this whole, I would have asked you, as one tends to ask most actors, what's it like, spending all these months in lockdown, except that you're the only one who went and worked, actually, who went and made a movie. So what's it been like now? I mean, are you sort of itching to get back to work? I mean, is that,
No,
you did already?
no. See, even See You Soon. I didn't do it because I was desperate or anything.
Right.
I did something I love doing, I mean,
Yeah.
It'll take time for me to again get back to work. I mean, I'm basically a very lazy guy. I'm very lazy. It's difficult to get me to work. So I mean, I was excited. I was really excited about Mahesh, who I sent him a mail. And one night I just sent him a mail about even Mahesh keeps telling me that, I think he keeps telling me that when we were shooting Malik together, he kept telling me that I think you should learn a craft, man. I think you should learn cinematography, or you should learn editing, So, during the lockdown, I realized that, okay, maybe this is a time that I should actually start learning something. And then I sent him a mail about how I want to sort of start learning editing, and we should discuss more of editing and things like that. So 2 days later he came back to me and he said, there's a lot of depression in that mail, so basically, are you looking for work? I said, no, I just wanted to do something that I've not done before, just explore something new. And there it was. Yeah. And he's back, in 2 days he's back with the script.
What was also very interesting, I thought about See You Soon, was that you all didn't use, because there's a lot of lockdown shows being created where lockdown is sort of written into the format. I thought it was interesting that this existed on its own. It's sort of it's not the limitation is not because of the situation that we're in. And I thought that was very interesting.
We constantly wanted to avoid that lockdown aspect of it. And looking at it, Rajiv, I mean, if I were to shoot this film after lockdown, this would have been the only way I would have done.
Correct.
I would have shot one sequence in the airport, which I couldn't now. I had to set it up and shoot it. That is the only thing that would have been done differently. Everything else would have been the same. The airport thing, I ideally would have wanted to shoot in an original airport, which wasn't possible. And so we had to set it up.
I have to ask you, why is the company called Fahadh Faasil and Friends? Is there a story behind that?
No, I function around my friends. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was very, it's nice. I mean,
It's got a nice ring to it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not alone, there are.
Right.
So.
Right. Thank you so much for this. Thank you for incredible performances. I'm a big fan of even Bangalore Days. What you did with Das in Bangalore Days, I thought was such a lovely character. Shammi is just incredible, and everything that you do. Thank you and I can't wait to see what you and Kumar Raja do again next, because he's just such a wonder kid.
I know.
He's just
I have to get him to work.
Lovely. Have a lovely Onam. I know that's coming up. Have your traditional Sadhya.
Happy Onam. And let me know after you watch the film. You watched it after?
I've actually watched it. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the sequel that you're planning already. See you soon.
Oh yeah, soon.
Thank you, Fahadh. Thank you so much. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.